What's going on, everybody? Today I'm going to be reacting to free agency. So free agency, the Broncos, they brought in 3 players that I really like. They brought in Zach Allen. They brought in Powers to be their right guard. And they brought over a fullback. Those are the 3 good signings that they got. And thank God, the defensive line, on the interior defensive line, that's a huge upgrade. Draymond Jones went to a system that fit him better, a 4-3 in Seattle. Great. I'm excited for the interior defensive line play this year. But that's about all I'm going to say there, okay? Because the rest of the signings, my God. Okay, first off, we're going to address the elephant in the room. Mike McGlinchey. Why the fuck are you paying this guy top-tier starting right tackle money? You're paying this man franchise right tackle money for him to come join a system that he doesn't even fit in. That has John Elway's fingerprints all over it. They overpay for a blocking tight end who's 30 years old. Typical. And then they bring in a running back who, isn't the running back that they need. You already have someone who's going to run up the middle. The one plus about him is he can run block. That's all I'm going to give him. And that probably is Peyton because he doesn't trust his offensive line still, even after the additions they brought in. And he probably brought in that tight end because he doesn't trust his offensive line again. But these are not players you needed. These are not the players that you needed. You needed to do a complete overhaul of your offensive line this offseason because you're not going to have many draft selections this year because you traded them all away for Russell fucking Wilson, who has been dog shit since he got here. Right? The Broncos, when they acquired all those draft picks, had all that money after they traded Von Miller. I thought they were going to be in rebuild mode. No, this fucking team acquired all that money and all those draft picks to fucking trade for Russell fucking Wilson. My God, I hate this team. You know what the Broncos could have done that year? The Broncos could have brought in Sean Payton with Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock as their quarterback. All those draft picks, all that money to spend, a complete rebuild. No, they decided to trade it all away for a Russell fucking Let's Ride Subway sandwich commercial looking ass Wilson. And what have we gotten from it? 5-12. No coaches want to come here. Offensive and defensive coordinators don't want to come here. And another 5-12 record at best next year, to be honest. The Broncos should have spent their money on, right tackle, right guard, then got a center that fits their system, a left guard, and even a left tackle because Garrett Bowles, that injury that he suffered, I don't think he's going to be back 100% next year. I think if they bring him back too early by week 1, he'll re-injure that ankle. So the Broncos should have been bringing in people on 2-year deals, 2-year budget-friendly deals, to get their offensive line through to the season that they will actually have draft picks and draft younger, bigger, more athletic, more physical offensive linemen who fit Sean Payton's system, instill the fear of God on opposing defensive lines type of rebuild. Instead, we get fucking Mike McGlinchey and Powers. Powers is a good pick. But what I'm saying is there's 5 offensive linemen on the field and we only got 2. And you overpaid one that doesn't even fit the system. So that's the Broncos for you right there. And I'm just sick of it, dude. I'm just sick of it. Because now the Broncos need receivers because they're going to be getting rid of Jerry Jeudy, which isn't much of a loss. I mean, if you take the current starting Broncos receivers, right, the Broncos have been obsessed with wide receivers for I don't know how long now, and yet they still can't even put together a receiving core that is good enough to compete with the rest of the NFL, and they're obsessed with receivers. Like, even Sean Payton knows that they suck. Sean Payton is like, this receiving core is not going to cut it. And that's and they're not going to cut it. They haven't cut it. They haven't cut it since they got here. Why the fuck we decided to sign Cortland Sutton to this massive deal? Why we decided to sign Tim Patrick to a massive deal? a massive deal for what they produce is absolutely beyond me. And the Broncos are asking for a first-round draft pick for Jerry Jeudy. Denver's going to be lucky to get a third-round pick out of Jerry Jeudy. Okay, you're not getting a first-rounder for Jerry Jeudy. They tried to trade Sutton, and no one wanted him because no one wants to take on that horrible contract for an injury-prone, old, overpaid receiver who underachieves in every aspect of his game. He stops on his routes. He half-asses his routes, drops the ball when he finally does get open, and he even got into a fight with Emmanuel Sanders about it. So I don't want to hear any of that bullshit, okay? The Broncos should have done a rehaul of their offensive line and offensive line-centric free agency, and they should have supplemented, because you don't have many draft picks, so you're going to have to use the draft this year to supplement with younger, more athletic receivers who are physical, can get separation, can get open, because you have to be smart. You have to be smart, right? You have more capital with cash to rebuild the biggest. Not even rebuild. Like, this is just Band-Aid fix. This is just a Band-Aid to get you through to when you can definitely and legitimately rebuild when you have draft picks. No, we didn't get that. Instead, we got a tight end, a running back. The fullback makes sense. But instead, you get a overpaid right tackle, a running back, and a tight end. I would have much rather seen a team-friendly deal for Mike McGlinchey as a bridge guy to get us through to when we have draft picks, and then have the rest of the offensive line have patchwork players who are better than what we have now and fit the system better than what we have now to get us through until when we can rebuild it through the draft. And instead, you get overpaying one player. You get positions that we don't really need to do through free agency. You can get a blocking tight end in the draft. You can get running back in the draft. You can get more receivers in the draft. I just can't believe that this team has been signing receivers, bringing in receivers through the draft, through free agency, and they still don't have a legitimate NFL wide receiving core. It's pathetic, and I'm fucking sick of it. Jerry Jeudy, they're not getting a first round out of him. And Courtland Sutton, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear any of your shit.